Alright, so we're back. Now, in this second part of my Roseblood breakdown video review is basically now I'm going to get into the characters that I thought really shined for me in this movie and the plot points that I want to touch on. And just overall everything in the bulk of this movie leading up to the fucking badass climax that we have at the end of Roseblood, because for the first half of this movie it's all build up, it's all tension, it's all character development, and it's building up to the crescendo that is the ending of this fucking movie. So that's one thing that I want to mention, is that I've seen and heard a lot of people bitch about when they talk about Roseblood is that there's no Jason. Okay, I'm not going to spoil everything in this because I feel like you should go see it for yourself so you can get your own opinion of the movie. You shouldn't go by what I'm saying in this. This is only my opinion. You shouldn't go in with an informed opinion and then be like, oh, well, this shit, just like the fucking guy said it. You know, make up your own mind. Watch it for yourself and then put your own thoughts together, okay? But yes, it's true. Jason doesn't show up to the last 15 minutes of the movie, but still, you have a lot of good character interactions within this movie to lead you up and carry you on to the ending of the movie. Because even without Jason, I was still interested and invested in the characters of this movie. You know, you get a look at the early stages of the Crystal Lake Research Facility, which is, as we all know, and sweaty horror junkies like me know, and Friday the 13th nerds know, that is a nod and an Easter egg to Jason X, which is probably one of the most polarizing movies out of the franchise, and it's got its share of haters too. But for me, Jason X is one of my favorites. It's way out there, it's crazy, it's batshit insane, but it's awesome, it's funny as hell, and there's some great kills in it, and one of the best incarnations of Jason we got in that. But the character of Duke, okay, he's one person I want to bring to mind and talk about, portrayed beautifully and awesomely by actor Jake Quint Roden, who also has a YouTube channel on here, Q's Movie Reviews, and I hope I got that right. Sorry if I didn't, man. I'm terrible with names and with channels, trying to remember, because I know a lot of fucking channels on here. But he's got a great movie review channel, and you should check it out. Go over there, subscribe to him, and share his shit, because he's a damn good actor, and he's funny as fuck. His comedic timing in this is really funny. He's not meant to be like the levity of the movie, but he does carry over the charisma that Stephen Williams gave to us as Creighton Duke in Jason Goes to Hell. And there's a lot of Easter eggs from Jason Goes to Hell, and there's a lot of nods to it. And I thought Jake Quint did awesome as the Duke. You know, you get to look at the college years, basically, of Creighton Duke and what it was like before he was a seasoned veteran in Part 9, and where his history with Jason, that prior history, started at. And you don't get the complete origin story of what happened between them two that made them cross paths, but you get to see what happened before that and leading up to that moment. Because at this point, Duke hasn't even met Jason yet. He knows about him. He knows what he's capable of, you know. And leading up to a point in this movie, some shit happens that makes him utter that iconic line of, son of a bitch, you gonna remember me. You know, like in Part 9 when he said, remember me? Well, something happens in this movie that makes Duke, it gives a lot more weight and power to that line in Part 9. And it really makes you look at Part 9 in a different way. You know, have more appreciation for that character, for the way he plays in this. And the jackass that's driving by right now, fuck that guy. I don't know who he is, but fuck that guy. So, you have more of appreciation of the Duke character, at least I did, after seeing Roseblood. And another few actors that I want to mention in this is, for one, Jessica Hoffman, who plays the main lead in this, young Tina Shepard, who carries on the mantle of that character from Part 7, a year later after the events of The New Blood. And Jessica, man, this was actually her first role, I think, but she knocked it out of the fucking park. She did badass. She really did. I'm not just throwing that out there either, you know, I'm not blowing smoke up her ass or nothing. I've told her plenty of times on Instagram and Facebook of how, you know, astonished I was with her acting ability. And for this just to be a fan film, it felt like a wider in scope. You know, maybe that was because of the direction and the cinematography was great in this. I really enjoyed that part too. But Jessica, she nails the emotional struggles of a character like Tina and the complexity of that character. She doesn't just go in there and phone the shit in and bullshit you and half-ass do it. She actually commits to this role 100%, and it comes across very well on screen. And her interactions with the young other co-star Sanaya, who plays Rose in this, a very complex character, and really it's troubled, damaged, emotionally damaged, and really fucked up, for the lack of a better word. A character like Rose, Sanaya did great. I think she did fucking amazing in this, and I loved her in Vengeance, but I even love her more in Roseblood. And that's what makes me sad, though, because of something I'm going to mention in my third part of this. Of what, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's just something they chose to do with Rose's character. It kind of makes me sad. I hated to see it happen, because I really enjoyed her in the first half of this, and I enjoyed her throughout the entire movie, but it wasn't nothing she did. It was a creative choice they did with her character. I'll get to that in my third part. But other than that, overall, I think she nailed the fuck out of it. She did. She showcased her acting ability perfectly in this, and the chemistry between Tina and Rose in Roseblood is genuine. It's heartfelt. You feel something for these characters when something happens to them, or when you think something's gonna happen to them. You're like, fuck, no, goddamn, no, not her. Shit, man, I really like her. And you really feel sympathy for Rose, because she's not able to really control her powers yet. You know, she's 10 times stronger than what Tina was in Part 7. And you get a glimpse of how fucking powerful she can be, and how vindictive she can be when someone tests her, and when someone pisses her off and just generally is an asshole to her. She's going to make an example out of you, and she will fuck you up royally. And Sanaya does damn good at executing that kind of character in this. And then you have young Tina, played by Jessica. She takes over the maternal role, for a better way of putting it. She really becomes like a mother, a surrogate mother for Rose, and a big sister kind of deal, you know. So it's kind of two in one. And the little moments we get with them two interacting, even though they could be just playing a fucking video game, playing Sonic on Nintendo or Sega, you know, just them debating over what's the better console. Nintendo versus Sega. We all know Nintendo is superior, and the graphics were way better than Sega, in my opinion. It is. But that was cute. That was funny. I love that. I love the bond between them two. It really felt heartfelt and beautiful, and I loved it. Let's see. Another character to mention, which is honorable mention, would be my good friend Peter Anthony, who plays General Bratbauer in this, who is leading the charge, and the Project Manifest that is mentioned quite a few times. Is basically the whole plot of this is that they're wanting to exploit the characters of Rose and Tina and use their powers for the military's advantage in future warfare and shit. And we've all seen that 1,000 times in other horror movies, but Bratbauer, dude, he's a force to be reckoned with. He is a really good asshole in this. Peter Anthony does a great job at playing an asshole in this. He makes you hate the fuck out of him. He really fucking does. Kind of like the other doctor that is seen in this, or technician, whatever he's supposed to be, the character of Jenkins. I knew from the trailer I was going to hate that fucking guy, and I was right. When he's introduced in the third act of this movie, I hated that motherfucker. But I also had to give props to him, because I said that if he has that kind of effect on me and anybody that watches this, and just the same with Peter, is his portrayal of Bratbauer makes us go, man, fuck that guy. Let Jason kill that motherfucker. I hate that son of a bitch. They did a good job. They did a damn good job. They did what was asked of them. They played a good heel, and they do, you know. And then you have the fast team, which is like a strike force, kind of like the grunts were in Jason X. And there's a lot of parallels between Roseblood and Jason X too. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but there's more than one. More than meets the eye. You kind of could look at the fast team and say, well, that's kind of, you know, a direct parallel between the grunt team and Jason X. And how much chihuahuas are going ape shit. I don't know why. They're my brother's dogs. But anyways, the strike force, without spoiling anything, they kind of bite off more than they can chew when it comes to Jason. They really wasn't prepared for him. They think they are. They're a bunch of egomaniacs and shit. And a bunch of like Rambo wannabe renegades, but I'm not trying to shit on them. I'm saying they're cool characters within their own right, but it's just the minute they're on screen, I could tell Jason was gonna fucking go ape shit and beat the hell out of them, and it leads into a badass action-packed third act in the last 15 minutes of the movie. But for the first half of it, you have a lot of 80s nostalgia. Like I said, Sega, Nintendo, board games, just all kind of shit that we remember from that era of filmmaking and from Peter's own childhood that he incorporated in this. And I thought that was a nice touch. It really was. Even the difference between Tina and Rose's rooms where they're staying at in the psych ward in the Crystal Lake Research Facility. Rose is all decked out in red, Tina's is all decked out in pink. Just subtle little nuanced things like that was really cool, man. And I'm running a little late into this video, so I'm about to cut it off so I can get into my third part. But I just wanted to touch on the characters I really liked in this, that really drove home the point of how awesome this shit was, which was Duke, Tina, and Rose, Brightbauer. I really enjoyed those characters. They were awesome in this, and they really kept me invested. Everything they said between the conversations of Tina and Rose, and young Tina and her new doctor. You know, he knows something, but he's also hiding some shit. He's kind of a shady character. I mean, he looks like real life Ned Flanders, but he knows some shit that he's not telling Tina, and you kind of want to feel bad for the guy, but then there's a point in the film where you go, okay, no, this motherfucker knew some shit, and he just pretty much fucked her over. Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck Ned Flanders. But good actor. He has some good moments. You know, there's a moment between Duke and Brightbauer, and he's like, "You two are standing here measuring each other's dicks," and they just look at him and go, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, shut up, real life Ned Flanders. Just go sit somewhere and do something. Act like you're doing something." But that concludes my second half of this video. Now I will get into my third half of my Roseblood breakdown and into the climax of this, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.